Hello, everyone. My name's Hank Setala,
And I'm Casey MacBride.
and we're here with another fun episode of Stir Crazy Shamans. Thank you so much for joining us. And just to give a shout out, yesterday's episode was so much fun. If you have a chance, go back, check it in the archive. We had Ryan Dean on from Empathic Empowerment Training, and anything and everything you've ever wanted to know about empaths. Well, maybe not everything, but a lot of the really important stuff is discussed on this call. So go back and check that out. And tomorrow, we have a very special guest. We're going to have Angie on. She's a registered medium at Lilydale, and we're going to be talking all about mediumship tomorrow. So definitely tune in for that. I'm so excited. I've been
I'm
friends
very excited for that one,
for a long
definitely.
time. And one of the things that I'll start with this topic today, transformation, is your whole life is a transformation. Every single moment, every single day, you have the possibility to recreate everything that you are like that and that easily. And not like you have to destroy everything to recreate it, but every moment has that much magical potential in it that you could walk into the moment one way, walk out the next, and have a completely different experience.
Yeah, and big part of that can be like these paradigm shifts, and I think we might have had an episode on that. I don't really remember, but uh, you know, people tend to think that in order to really like change your views on how things work or like really shift your perception, there needs to be like this long process or whatever. But a big like paradigm shift can happen in an instant like that. And I've experienced many of them throughout my lives. And sometimes it just takes, it could be some new information presented to you in such a way that your mind um, cannot ignore it anymore. And then and externally maybe nothing has changed, you're still the same person, have the same color hair and eyes, maybe maybe, but then internally your entire view of how everything works could have changed. And but the change doesn't have to be that dramatic either. We experience change and transformation all the time. So yeah, we're I think a big part of the reason why we're here on this planet, and I know at least it's been true for me, is I'm learning a lot of lessons and growing, and every single day, every moment, I'm learning to go deeper into myself, into peace. And so it's, yeah, this whole every single day is a transformational journey for me.
Absolutely. And it's all there available, but we have this the ego gets in the way sometimes. And the ego is a very important thing. So I would never advocate like getting rid of the ego, but you want to put ego in check. I guess would be the way to say it, because the ego is what helps us to be individualizations of divinity. So we have our own sense of identity. So being the ocean but not being the ocean, it's like you're that single drop that has the potential just to be the whole ocean, but this little skin of energy keeps you separate, and that's what the ego is. But ego run riot, it prevents you sometimes or distracts you from being able to tap into these moments that could just like instantly transmute you, because it relies only on past data. It looks at all the
Right.
past stuff and it's like, hey, I know you survived this, so I'm going to trick you into reliving your worst day over and over again because I know you survived it. But God forbid, if you look at a new possibility that could change your life, I don't know what the outcome's going to be. So the ego's just doing its job. And so instead of feeling fear from the ego, shift that to feeling excited and ready and step into that transformation.
Yeah, and I know I'm sure you come across this too, but there are some people who are so heavily identified with the ego, and the ego, like you said, is sort of running rampant for them, that they will defend their own suffering. You know,
Oh, they'll argue about who suffers more.
right? You see that a lot. Oh yeah,
Yeah, and, like really watch that. Like, what feels lighter to you? Like talking, like sharing with how amazing magic you have in your life, or getting together with someone, and after they tell you how bad they have it, say, "Well, I have it worse because," and they're like, "Well, that might have happened to you, but this also happened to me," and they're arguing about who has it harder. Like, and since energy goes where your attention, energy flows where your attention goes. What are you telling the universe is important to you?
Yeah, and it's funny because I have friends that are like that, where every time we get together, it's the same thing. It's just oh well, this sucks, and I just got fired from that job, and this relationship's blah, blah, blah. And every single time I meet him, there's new things that are going wrong, that are unpleasant, and that are just terrible. And I'm like, I mean, look at what you're verbalizing and putting out there. But it's funny because I sit there, this person I'm thinking of, he's a wonderful friend of mine. I absolutely love him. But I sit there and I just hold the space. But I don't. How to put it? I don't like it really engage it all that much. I let him, vent and all that. But I hold that space, and then when he's done, I start to maybe share some things about like some fun things that I've been doing or whatever. But I'm always able to see that sort of shift that happens when he gets that out of his system. I don't know if he's just used to talking to people about that all day, the people he interacts with. But then he shifts, and then we just start to talk about goofy stuff, shows we've been watching, and then we just start to laugh and have a good time. So if you're wondering what you can do to help these people that maybe are stuck in that sort of pattern of like, oh, I suffer more than you and all that, just hold the space for them, be in that space of peace, and just be there and watch as just holding that energy and that vibration yourself gives them the potential to more easily shift into that space with you.
Right. And then asking that magical question from Access, what else is possible? But to that, I want to give one little thing that like Zane teaches in shamanism when doing soul retrievals. It's that you ask, what happened, where it happened, and who it happened with, but you don't go into the story. And the reason being is and granted, what you just said, like a lot of people, they just need, that's their process. They got to dive into their shit for whatever reason. And, but what happens is they are reinforcing the victim mentality. So like while you're holding the space, you're holding the space for them to have a different choice. Yeah, they're going into the story, but what energy could you be that when they leave you, that they might be able to choose something different? And speak of the devil, I already plugged our talk for tomorrow, but Angie was just saying, hi, Hank and Casey.
Hello.
Hello. And so for those of you
Very
who are
excited to meet you and talk with you tomorrow.
yeah, so tomorrow we already plugged it once, but let's just talk about it. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, we are going to be having Angie on. She's a registered medium from Lilydale, and we'll be talking all about mediumship, which is a topic near and dear to my heart. In fact, Angie and I met at Fellowships of the Spirit. You see the banner in the back there. We served on the board of directors, and that's where I kind of really started to get to know Angie, and we became great friends. And now, because of COVID-19, we are now doing virtual stuff together more and more. So it's so much fun.
How does it get any better than that?
We're going to find out tomorrow, if not sooner. Cool. But, and a fun thing so though transformation can happen like instantaneously in any of the moments in the ever-present moment of now, you can also kind of go out and have the intention to choose something and really allow that to be a transformative process for you. For example, like at Fellowships, they have the 2-year program where you learn how to do the school, like mediumship, healing, and that type of thing over a 2-year thing. The Shaman Apprenticeship program is another example where you have like a long period of time where you have a program of giving you different tools that if you really turn yourself over to it, like throughout that whole process, you keep having these reemergences and things like that. So I'll absolutely like watch for it in your everyday life, but maybe does something shine to you that you feel is going to bring a lot of lightness to your life, and is there a program around that? Or make your own program. Like sit down and be like, hey, this is where I'm going, and I'm gonna go and look at all these different tools, free videos on YouTube, or make your own little program if you're not in a position where you can commit to something big. Like what could you do? Or the 12 steps. I'm in recovery. 12 years sober now, I think maybe a little longer, but in the big book, there's like these 12 steps, regardless if you're an addict or not, that is a recipe for change. And so whatever calls to you, whatever shines, like what contribution could you be to your experience to help the universe deliver to you unbelievable trains and transformation with ease?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be anything like big or extravagant either. I know many times when I've been in a state of less than pleasant energy and all of that, I just lay down and asked for assistance from my guides, like, okay, I'm really stuck with this, don't know how to move on. Can you help me? And then they're more than willing to start working on the body. And I've experienced huge shifts, emotional release, and like powerful change just by asking for it.
Cool.
I love that. Cool.
It is cool. Well, no, I got some of
You
the
were so really you weren't even listening.
I wasn't. That was my autopilot. That's like the equivalent of yes, dear. Oh, but the energy behind all that is, I was just talking about these big programs. It doesn't have to be elaborate. See, I got the energy. I got what you're pointing to. That's all good.
I don't even remember what I was talking about, to be fair.
Well, a good thing I can go back and rewatch the video. No, and we're going to be doing an episode, because how fun is this? We're going to have an episode where we just have like this bag of fortune cookies, and we're going to open them up, and we're going to talk about whatever the fortunes say, right? Even when you go out to eat and you have that fortune, like, what if you were open to receiving the wisdom from this fortune cookie? Like, what magic could it have for you? What could it change overnight, instantly, with ease, if you were to really just look at the energy behind those words? Now, sometimes they're a little questionable. Like, did you ever get the one that says, "Help, I'm being held hostage in a Chinese fortune cookie factory"?
Is that what? Is that really important?
No, but it would be awesome if it was. I mean, unless it was.
I was just thinking, imagine if you got one that was like, hide under the table right now.
You can have them custom made, I guess. So you could probably pull some pretty bad jokes on somebody. One of my first jobs, I actually worked at a Chinese restaurant, and you would be surprised the number of people that get offended by their fortune cookie wrapper and then want their meal for free.
What?
The only one I remember, one of them said, "Hope for the best, prepare for the worst," and the lady was like really offended at that fortune, and she wanted like their entire meal for free, and the guy owner was like, "No."
People are crazy, man.
Yeah. That was my first job, washing dishes at a Chinese restaurant. So.
That's funny.
I had quite a few experiences for a different time, because they're not really related to this at all. Oh. But what else about transformation that comes to mind?
I don't know, Hank, Mr. Topic creator for today.
Well, and also today we're only on for a short period of time because Casey has to go back to the real world.
Yeah, well, not the real world. I still don't think it's all that real. But I have to go back to a world, a different world than I'm in right here.
And you're a different Casey going back to it. So in Ohio, they're starting to reopen things, and massage and things like that. Casey is going back to reinvigorate his business in a new way with all the stuff he's learned over the last 40 days.
Yeah, it's speaking of transformations, this has been quite an amazing transformation for me with this COVID thing and all the magic that has come into my life thanks to this.
Yeah, because what if you use COVID as an incubator for change? You could have,
right?
And you still have time to. Like, the effects of COVID are not over. So I mean, it's gonna, the new normal, whatever that's going to be. There's going to be this constant sense of more mindfulness with everybody. That's what's happened. Like, what a gift. Angie always talks about blessing the mess. She's where I got that from, one of the people. Mm-hmm. And, one of the blessings from this whole COVID thing is you could have, and you still had the opportunity to take this moment to have it be just for you, yourself, and your soul, and see what inspirations come. This whole podcast is an inspiration from COVID, because we were doing our last virtual class with Zane Kerfman. We had to make our Spirit Lodge series go from in-person to virtual. And when we did that, I made the passing joke, well, what if we were to start a Stir Crazy Shamans web stream and use it to offer, just some hope and some guidance and just some content to lighten people's day. And Casey was going to be the guest the first time, and then it just became, no, Casey is like the co-host.
No, I love it.
Or an additional host, however you want to look at it. And this entire thing, because we were paying attention and we followed the energy. So what could you create if you were open to it? And that seems appropriate. I could throw my meme up, which I'm all happy about. Spirit gave me this, so I can't take credit for it. But Spirit told me one night, it's like, we're going to give you an acronym for COVID. And I'm like, cool. What is it? And like, then I sit down and start trying to figure it out. And they're like, no, idiot, we'll give it to you. I'm like, oh. And then it just came through like that. It was creating opportunities via intuiting divinity. And then the quote that came with it, what world would we create if we were all in touch with the divine? Oops. Double clicked real quick there. So like, really, what could you create? What could you create if you were really in tune? And there's all these inspirations. Oh, I wish I could have gotten Ryan to tell the story yesterday. When we have Ryan on again, he tells us one story. He ended up in the ER one time because the place that he had been working at, they used all these toxic chemicals. It was manufacturing, and he ended up in the hospital. And then he ended up having to quit the job. And he asked his guides, Metatron is one of them, if you know Metatron, one of the angels. And he's just like, well, what's up with that? They're like, well, we kept trying inspiration, so respiration seemed appropriate. Like it was what he needed to get his attention to finally make the choice to leave that toxic environment. He had been told many, 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 many times, like he knew he was not to be there. And then finally, because of the environment, his body's like, I give up. I need some. I need contribution here, and that's what it took for him to make the choice.
Yeah, and it is. Sometimes our guides get a little impatient with us. I know that was the case for me back when I was first going through my awakening process. I think my guides were like, "All right, the whole miserable cynic of the Casey thing has gone on for long enough. We're gonna knock you into the realms of spirit. You figure it out from there." But not really. But I know they got that was big transformation for me. I mean, I've been through so many of these big shifts where it was like, okay, yeah, I've got things kind of figured out. I'm going in the right. And then spirit's like, nope, here's a whole new set of reality, whole new paradigm for you to.
Oh, maybe when it's the second that you judge the path you're on is right, then you've just created a limitation and they want you to change.
Right. Oh, but yeah.
And a note on paths, folks. Something that I've gotten through spirit for many times, where people ask me, "Hey, am I on the right path?" And what comes through is the only true path that is truly yours is one that has never been walked before, because you are the trailblazer. You may have a moment where you're crossing over someone's path, where you might be on the same direction for a period of time, but the path itself is yours and yours alone. So if you're walking someone else's, if you're following someone, you're on the wrong one. Not that it's wrong, it's just another one, but it's not your one.
There was a Zen monk or a Zen master.
I caught that one.
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Yeah. He came through in a reading, and someone saying, he asked, like, am I on the right path? And he was like, he goes, the right path, the left path, the up path, the down path, the middle path, the back path. It doesn't matter. And it's like, where you are right now, this step that you're taking right here, that's the step. Forget about the path. If you're looking out here in front of you at the path or looking up at the sky, then you're going to miss that rock right here, and you're going to fall right on your face, and it's going to hurt. Be here. This exact step that you're taking, there's infinite potential in this moment, this exact moment right here, right now. So why are you worried?
We probably could do a whole episode and okay, so if you're in the ever-present moment of now, right? And if you were to be putting yourself in the future, you're fragmenting yourself, really, because now your being isn't in this ever-present moment of now. How do you plan? We'll do a whole thing on that. That's something that I might even have to meditate a little bit on, because you are in the flow, but you still need to direct the ship, right? So what do you the perception? I guess it's really coming from a knowingness. All right, we'll save that for another one though, because now I'm getting answers for it. But I already said, it's going to be another episode, so we'll save it for the next time we don't have a guest on.
Right.
Cool. What? Oh, Mike's just going on one of Mike's things. Love you, Magic Mike. I don't think I'll put those things up right now. But on a note of, no, that's a different topic altogether too. So maybe me and the doctor tomorrow I'll talk on mind over medicine tomorrow. We might touch a little bit on vaccination stuff. So if anybody wants the energy that Mike's tapping into right now, that might be more inclined when I'm on with Dr. K tomorrow morning. So if you're interested in anything like that, that's going to be under the HHH channel. We will talk a little bit about that. Cool. Transform. See, I just took that energy and I transformed it into a topic for tomorrow.
There you go. All kinds of transformations.
Oh, speaking of what I just did yesterday, Casey's giving little spirit guide readings, and he's rattling, and I hop in the studio and I'm in the camera, so I'm not on stream, but I'm in the camera dancing around and stuff, and then just making him laugh.
I even said it one point. No one knew what I was talking about, but I was like, there is a spirit just dancing it up here.
Yeah, this mythical creature. And it's me in the background just having a blast.
Oh, that was so much fun.
But this is a perfect segue for another example of transformation, though. Casey has, if you aren't a subscriber to Shaman's Way YouTube, definitely subscribe. Casey will do these like, he goes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, or maybe even a little longer, where he was doing these free spirit guide readings. And we were talking off air about the energy around it. Like some of the people, when it's like that, it's like, oh, free, 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 like a sense of entitlement almost. It's not quite the right words, but just this real heavy energy around
Yeah,
a lot of the people that wanted these free readings. And while we were talking, well, what if we called it Aini readings? And
yeah,
Aini is a Quechua word. It means, the best translation is like divine reciprocity. And it's about being in the flow of energy. And so people who always give, 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 they create hucha because they don't have the ability to receive. The energy is only going one way, and they're depleting. And if they only
right.
take, they create hucha because they're only taking and they're not letting go of energy somewhere else. Trees and people are an example between oxygen and carbon dioxide. That is an example of Aini, of energy flow. And so when he went on, he's like, these are Aini readings, whether you're going to subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the video, make a tip, schedule a full session, some sort of reciprocity, whichever is right for you. And plus, he also said you don't have to. I believe at the beginning, you're like,
Right.
even this, I'm calling it this, but so it's not like I can make you do it, right? But it
Right.
shifted the energy, and you can speak a
It
little
did.
bit more from your experience, like how much of a shift it was on. Even other people were commenting about it.
It was amazing. Yeah. The first few times I went on and did these live stream spirit guide readings, it was so much fun, and like people were booking full sessions, and it was amazing. I had like a completely fully booked week my first week, and then something happened, and me continuing to put out the free spirit guide readings thing, using that word free, there were people getting angry at the fact that I wasn't picking them because it was their turn, and like it was really again a lot of hucha, a lot of really heavy energy was being generated. And so I switched and I called it Aini readings and explained a little bit about what it was. And immediately, the people that started coming through, even people who hadn't even heard me describe the explanation, just the people coming through it had so much lighter energy. And like even the reading, even the messages that were coming through so much more beautifully for people. And like people, like every single person was like, oh my god, that was amazing, I know exactly what that's talking about. And like the energy of the whole thing just did a 180. And now it's like joyful again. And so now I'm going to keep doing it. I was sitting there wondering, I'm like, am I going to keep doing these? Because like if it continues in this direction and it's still like heavy like this, I'm going to have to find another way to do this. And yeah, that just changing that word and explaining a little bit about how the energy of this has changed was, oh, the shift was amazing.
And notice that the transformation came from a question. So if you're watching this and something's not working in your life, what did Casey do? And we talk about this on a lot of our streams. Is he asked
Yes.
the question like, what could I do differently? What
Yes.
energy could I be that would create a change here? And when he asked those questions and followed the energy, and we had a little dialogue about it, unpacked that energy a bit, it came just to change it from free to Aini.
Look at that. Something that seems so simple, just the change of one word
Yeah.
made that big of a difference. It's amazing.
Yeah. So like if whatever's not working in your life, what could you be and do different to create and facilitate more possibility around that?
And it's like in the Joy of Business. I was it's a book by,
Simone Melissa.
yes.
I might be mispronouncing her name, but yeah.
But she was saying for example, if like someone were to start a business where they were planning to make orange juice, so they plant a whole orchard full of orange trees, and they're growing them like from tiny trees. They continue to see them grow. They start to market, put all the stuff out here about we have the freshest, best orange juice, all this stuff. They get all their branding around orange juice, and then the trees finally grow big, and then they start to produce fruit, but they're lemons instead of oranges. They made a mistake or something. So some people in that instance would be like, oh, we screwed up, so they cut down all those trees. But instead, you ask, okay, well, what can I do here? What can I do? We've got these lemons. Okay, well, maybe I can make lemonade.
Yeah.
And that could be a gift. Maybe that was what you were meant. What were something much more powerful for you than making the orange juice. But I mean, you can obviously apply that in many different ways. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool little metaphor for that.
Yeah, we could do a whole topic around businesses, and maybe that feels light sometime for next week. Maybe we'll have how to spiritually run a topic on spiritually running a business, because we could dive just in what you just mentioned there, even way deeper into a whole bunch of business concepts and things like that. If it feels light, definitely not light to do in 5 minutes and some seconds, because we had to
Right.
cut it short today. Not short. It's just what it is today.
It is as it is. It always is as it is, isn't
Yeah,
it?
so if you do have any questions or comments, like now would be the time, because we're going to be wrapping up sooner than normal. So if you have any questions, you got to make them on. Oh, I forgot to even put up that banner. So if you've been making comments on any of the Facebook pages, we're
Oh
not
yeah.
seeing them. We're not ignoring you. But if you look at the description, it says if you want to comment, go to YouTube, because the way we're streaming now, it's cross posting from our pages. And when we do it this way, we don't see comments. So you got to go to the YouTube channel to make a comment. Otherwise, we won't see it. Yeah, Max is like, Mike is like, yeah.
So yeah, just since we're getting towards like wrapping up point here, I just wanted to. Oh yes, Mike says see you tonight. That is right. The apprenticeship is tonight. Very cool. I was about to say I'm probably going to do another Aini spirit guide mediumship session. I probably still will later on, but it won't be in the evening like I thought it was, because we have the apprenticeship then.
Well, and who knows if it works out for my schedule, I might be on too, because we were talking about doing this together. We work very differently. I'm more of well, anyway, part of the one reason Spirit brought Case and I together is we swing both ways on the pendulum, different ways, and we're kind of helping each other to. Anyway, I'm going to see more beautiful guides, and he's going to get more just I know things.
Yes. Oh, it's amazing. Just the interaction so far. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, very excited. So anyway, yeah, actually we might want to, is it okay if we wrap up just a couple minutes early?
I was already bringing up my overlays just to talk about the next upcoming topics.
Okay. All right, cool.
So two things, go back to yesterday, check out the empathic empowerment, the magic of the empath show that we had with Ryan Dean. Absolutely phenomenal information. Like afterwards, Casey and I were talking. He's just like, the way that Ryan just puts things, is the languaging he uses is so concise that it's just really impeccable. The way that he comes across with how he's able to describe things.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing.
And it's really, really great, especially because he has an engineering background. So if you know someone, especially that has like the engineering mindset, like Ryan really resonates, especially with people like that need to know how things work. Right. And then tomorrow we have Angie, who is a registered medium at Lilydale. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means. But Lilydale is like the spiritualist capital of the United States. There's other spiritualist communities like Camp Chesterfield and Cassadaga in Florida, but this was the original one where, and medium spiritualism is all about proving the continuity of life. So it's a whole town of people who are all mediums. Imagine that, like walking through people. It's like, am I even talking to a real person or a dead person now? I don't know. But Angie's going to be on tomorrow talking about mediumship and kind of diving in what's the difference between mediums and psychics and intuitives. We talked a little bit about that yesterday, but we can dive a lot deeper into that with Angie. And
that'll be an amazing one. Definitely tune in for that one. I can't wait.
Yeah, if you haven't been subscribed yet, subscribe to the Stir Crazy Shamans YouTube channel so you get the notifications when we go live. In the description, there's a link to the other two YouTube channels we stream on, Casey Shaman's Way and HHH. So subscribe to them all if you want notifications. HHH, maybe we go live 2 times a week. Shaman's Way is a couple times a day normally, with a little free I caught myself. Aini readings with little Aini spirit guide mediumship sessions that will change your life. So definitely do that as well. And then always comment on YouTube if you can. There's a little bit of a delay, but we know we're going to, see your comments, even if it's like a 30-second delay. Anything else you have coming up, Casey?
Do I? Nothing that comes to mind. If there is, I'll talk about it tomorrow, but nothing that comes to mind at the moment.
Oh, one shout out too. If you're local, Goddess Elite is going to be reopening on the 12th, and on Thursday night at 7. She is doing, like, if you like, been waiting to pick up items from a metaphysical store, she's doing live streams Thursdays at 7:00, where it's kind of like QVC metaphysical style, and they show like the best of the best products. So we definitely won't be streaming at 7 because we're in our apprenticeship. But if you go over to the Goddess Elite Facebook, or it's actually going to be streaming on my Facebooks as well. So Sonic Shaman, HHH, it's going to be on my Facebooks, you can catch that and see like what kind of new metaphysical stuff. Because she was getting orders this entire time while we were in lockdown, because she had ordered stuff like months in advance. So,
Very cool.
and she's someone just saying, I wanted to say hello and thank you both for the informative sessions. You're very welcome.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. And on that note, thank you so much for being with us. And we are looking forward to having you with us again tomorrow and over the weekend and all the other wonderful times that we are inspired to do these streams.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a beautiful day.
A Nike, a Nike, a Nike. Surprise, I'm back. Amber, to your comment, are we planning on reopening HHH? Yes, we will be reopening HHH on the 12th. We are just going through a sterilization process and rolling out some new things for our practitioners. So we will be doing that on from now until the 12th with the reopen date of the 12th. So thanks for the question, and Pukliai!